How was Bill as a trainer? Do you feel that he took advantage of people?
I think that he certainly took advantage of his position of power. If I were to run a seminar, for example, or if I were to train anybody, I would not tell them, I wouldn't try to train them something that I didn't understand. I would try to train them something that I could definitely train them correctly and safely, and only things that could benefit their career in a positive manner. I think that possibly because Bill was in a position to be a WWE trainer, he may have been expected to be like the jack of all trades, like the epitome of what a pro wrestling trainer should be. So I think he stepped out of his comfort zone a lot and tried to train things that he wasn't qualified for doing. I think he understood like the power plant philosophy and how to break guys down mentally and emotionally and stuff like that to rebuild them back up. I think he's got that down. But I think any sort of like pro wrestling aspect, he wasn't the greatest pro wrestling teacher, which is why, Dave Taylor was like a godsend for all of us there.
Describe his training methods and why they weren't good for WWE developmental.
I think, as much as I enjoyed the physical aspect of the training, like I loved having to do a ton of squats, a ton of push-ups. I loved running around the town. Like we'd have to run to like town square, like touch a statue, come back. Sometimes we'd push vehicles and stuff like that. That was fun to me, actually. A lot of people hated it, even though it didn't really relate to pro wrestling. But I think being in shape relates to wrestling.
Yeah.
We all have to be complete athletes. I think the stuff where it started to get questionable was like when we would do drills like, okay, everybody line up. You're going to go in the ring, and a guy's going to pitch you to the floor. And then just keep going around and keep getting pitched to the floor. And we'd already had like 5-10 years in the business at this point. Like we know how to take getting pitched to the floor.
Right.
At this point, it's just like a risk to injury.
Yeah.
So we'd get pitched to the floor, and then it was like, no, you guys are doing it all wrong. We want you to hit the floor, but then like hit the floor and bounce and roll into the guardrail. It's like, what? Why do we have to do that? So we're hitting the floor and slamming ourselves into the guardrail, hitting the floor and slamming ourselves into the guardrail. And it's like, when you do that enough times, you're going to start to get these nagging like scrapes and bumps. And then if you're doing that every day, it eats away at you.
Yeah.
And
anybody say anything to him, or you couldn't?
No, it's almost like we couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do? There were times when people would sit out or whatever, and then they would just get made fun of, And I did understand that, because that's like being the hard coach. Like, what's the matter? Can't
Right.
handle it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I do get that, but we had guys that were getting legitimately hurt, like guys blowing out their knees, guys tearing their biceps. And these are on stupid drills that never made them a better wrestler. There was no need for it whatsoever. And I just think that if it was handled a little differently, where Bill could have done that physical aspect of the training only, and then Dave would have done anything wrestling related, I think it would have been like a better
fit.
Yeah, like wrestler-student or coach-student relationship between everybody. And the morale would have been a lot higher too, I think.
Is it true that if you weren't going out drinking with him, he wouldn't push you to the office? I've heard rumors of that. I don't know how true it is.
Right. I would say it was certainly the popular theory.
Right.
At that time.
He had his boys then?
Yeah. There were people that hung out with him in their spare time, and those were coincidentally the people that kept getting sent up. If it was my opinion, I would say they weren't necessarily the right people to go. But really, was it my opinion? No, of course not. Bill was the guy in charge. Is it right? Is it wrong? For me, I do believe that hard work should be rewarded, and I think the best guys should go up. And I think if you send the best guys up, it's going to look better on you in the end. Right?
Yeah.
But I do understand wanting to look out for your friends. Wrestling has always very much been that. Someone looks out for you, look out for them, scratch his back, they'll scratch yours. And that's kind of why I'm glad things have really changed as of late. The way that NXT has been structured has really
it's
made
a lot different.
It's the place to be now.